Talking about Glastonbury, we also have to mention Bobby Vylan. Bob Vylan was the talk of the town for his Glastonbury, or for their Glastonbury performance, where they shouted out some very powerful things while they were on stage regarding their dislike of the IDF, dislike of Zionists, and just basically rallying behind the Palestinian people. And some people didn't receive it too well. When I mentioned it previously on the Random Show, I felt as if, although what they said was a little bit spicy, right? I did think it was appreciated and probably very radical, very punk, very brave of them to do so, especially when you consider the fallout. And the fallout being, according to the Hollywood Reporter, they lost their visa. They got dropped by their agent, UTA. And I've also read an article where they've been dropped by another festival, I think in Manchester somewhere. Yeah, there's another headline here, courtesy of Sky Sports, or Sky News, sorry, that says that they were meant to headline a festival in Manchester and they've been dropped from that as well. So this goes to show you just how risky it is for a lot of these artists to come out and be vocally pro-Palestinian, anti-IDF, anti-Zionist and shit, or maybe anti-Israeli government, because it can legitimately cost them their career. And I mentioned previously in the Random Show that I do find it kind of weird how there's such a small group of people, mainly Israelis, have such a fucking big influence on the music industry at large. And that applies to dance music, nightlife, clubs and shit in my area of expertise, and also in other genres in terms of live music. I wonder why that is. I wonder why in particular people from Israel seem to have such an influence, such a stranglehold, have so many fingers in pies when it relates to music, because it makes this type of situation way more complex and way more harder to navigate. And since all this stuff has gone down with Bobby Vylan, or Bob Vylan, however you fucking pronounce her names, it's made me now understand and appreciate, or have a lot more sympathy with artists who don't want to speak up. Predominantly somebody like a DJ Khaled, who maybe is the worst example because he's actually from Palestine. But I understand why some artists are resistant or hesitant to speak up for Palestinians, or to speak for a ceasefire, or to call out Zionism, or whatever it may be. Because as you see with the Bobby Vylan thing, their whole careers, everything they've worked hard for is on the line and in jeopardy because of that one comment they made on stage. Like, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. So this is courtesy of the Hollywood Reporter. Bob Vylan loses visas, dropped by UTA following death to IDF chant at Glastonbury. The English rap punk duo Bob Vylan are facing significant backlash to their death to the IDF chant from Glastonbury over the weekend, with the State Department confirming on Monday it revoked the rights of the US group's visas. Meanwhile, a source confirms to the Hollywood Reporter that United Talent Agency has dropped Bob Vylan following a controversy. The quote here says the State Department has revoked US visas for the members of Bob Vylan in the band in light of their hateful tirade at Glastonbury, including leading the crowd in death chants. The State Department and the State Secretary of State Christopher Landau wrote on X, "Foreigners who glorify violence and hatred are not welcome visitors to our country." It's just funny when you think about, just the other day there was reports coming out that the Israeli government, the IDF, had launched bombs and killed several civilians in a cafe in Palestine. So it was so bad. I saw pictures from the aftermath, or video clip, that showed these two guys who literally looked like they were sitting in a cafe having a drink when the bomb hit them. Like, they were in the same positions they were in as they were hitting, so they probably had no idea what happened. Thank God, maybe it was a quick death. But it was so fucking heartbreaking to see these two guys clearly just, like, you know, sitting down, having a chin wag, enjoying a nice coffee in a coffee shop, and then boom, the whole place comes tumbling down. The other day I saw another video clip of I think a hospital got bombed, and I saw volunteers that were picking bits of people's remains off from the roof of this hospital. I saw somebody pulling down a leg or something, like horrible things. That one image that's still in my head of I think, is it like a family walking across like an open plain. I think they're carrying watermelons. I don't know what they're doing, and some sniper shoots them from mad far. Headshots like two of them, kills them right down the spot. So it's really fucking crazy, really fucking interesting to see all of these people you know, coming out and condemning this group and being so quick to revoke their visas and punish them for these, you know, death chants, which again, if you've got a reason for that, I guess maybe the death chants went a bit over the edge. Maybe Free Palestine is one thing, but, you know, saying death to anybody, any group, even if it's a fucking military force or military in general, people are not going to be too happy about. But if you're so quick to do that, then why are you not so quick to condemn the death of innocent civilians? Like, what's going on? Why are we talking about that? Why aren't we highlighting or talking about the deaths of innocent civilians? That was really troubling to see. So that kind of broke my heart, I'm not gonna lie. That really fucking broke my heart. And like I said, I have a lot of sympathy now and understanding for artists who are more hesitant and not very quick to jump and say anything about this situation, because you could legitimately lose your entire career. I know myself, you know, trying to become a DJ and shit, just how important people like agencies are. I'd imagine a lot of work. You probably get a lot of like bookings just because you're represented by an agency, just because you got a booking agent who maybe gets a lot of inbound requests, or they do a lot of work on your behalf, blah 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 blah. Maybe they negotiate higher rates for you, but regardless, it's a very intrinsic, it's a very integral part of your journey as an artist to kind of go through, from playing in places for free to suddenly getting signed and getting an agency. So to lose such a big agency like United Talent Agency must be a big blow, and it's definitely going to affect them negatively, you would assume, going forward in their careers. But they're so brave and so steadfast in their resolve that he was willing to do so. So you kind of have to give those guys ratings for basically risking their careers to speak up for people who they feel like have no voice, who can't get spoken up about. And weirdly enough, like, you know, this sort of thing you'd hope maybe in the future could lead to some change. It maybe could contribute, could be one of the steps we take towards a ceasefire. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because as much as I don't like to share my opinions or this sort of stuff, the thing that kind of breaks my heart is that I can kind of understand both sides. I can kind of understand if you're an Israeli and why you could be so upset about what happened in October 7th. But I feel like now, surely the scales have been balanced, maybe too much so. Surely enough bloodshed has happened to kind of correct and to kind of even up the numbers when it comes to deaths in terms of what happened at that music festival on October 7th. Surely now is enough. The whole of Palestine has been leveled, it's unrecognizable, and surely now is time for peace. Surely now there's a time to kind of come to the table and just try and figure out a solution where you can kind of get along, you know, and live in the same space or something, or share the same space. Because right now it's fucking tragic to see so many innocent civilians being killed, especially the ones who are going to pick up aid. Like, I don't know, if you're going to target Hamas, fair enough, but, you know, shooting and killing innocent civilians as they're going to pick up aid, like bags of rice and pasta and shit, it's like, come on, bro, come on. As of Monday, Bob Vylan is no longer listed on UTA's roster as its website. UTA didn't respond to requests of comment. A rep for Bob Vylan couldn't be reached. The blowback comes from Bob Vylan's performance in Glastonbury, one of the most famous music festivals in the world. On Saturday, that broadcast on the BBC's Glastonbury condemned a chant this weekend, with the festival organizer Emily Evis writing on Instagram that she was appalled. Their chants which very much crossed the line, and we are urgently reminding everyone involved in the production of the festival that there is no place for Glastonbury anti-Semitism, hate speech, or incitement of violence. To be fair, that's true. Maybe that death to the IDF chant was a bit too spicy. It got the message across. Maybe that's a bit too much. Maybe you can say Free Palestine and shit, but death to the IDF, death to, you might as well just say death to Israelis. And I don't think it's fair to group Israelis with Zionist or Zionist with IDF or IDF. You know what I mean? Everyone should be kind of addressed individually as their group and shit, or as they identify, as opposed to kind of being generalized and swept under the same rung. But I could be wrong. In a statement to the BBC, it said it regrets not pulling the live stream for the performance. The BBC respects freedom of expression, but stands firmly against incitement of violence. The network said in a statement, the anti-Semitic sentiments expressed by Bob Vylan were utterly unacceptable and have no place in our airways, and welcome the Glastonbury condemnation of the performance. But again, the message was said. The message got across. They can condemn it as much as they want, but they said what they said, and hopefully people heard that message loud and clear. And who knows, maybe as toxic and as unconstructive as it was, maybe it will kind of lead to some long-lasting change in the future. You never fucking know. The group's frontman Bob Vylan, a stage name drummer Bob Vylan, Bobby Vylan is the other half of the group, defended the chant in his Instagram post on Sunday, writing, "I said what I said," teaching our children to speak up for the change they want to see. No, teaching our children to speak up for the change they want and need is the only way that we can make this world a better place. As we grow older and our fire possibly starts to dim under the suffocation of adult life and all its responsibilities, it's incredibly important that we encourage and inspire future generations to pick up the torch that was passed on to us. Bob Vylan's visas have been revoked months before. The duo was slated to begin a 16-date North American tour this fall, starting in Spokane, Washington. It's currently unclear what will happen with those shows, but assuming the visa issue will be stand by then, it will most likely be cancelled. Jesus Christ, bro. That's a lot of money. 16-date tour cancelled. 16-date visas revoked. Fucking hell. Bob Vylan's comments are just the latest in Israel's guard situation to stir controversy in the international festival circuit. Back in April, Irish rap group Kneecap, who performed at Glastonbury this weekend as well, had posted a "Fuck Israel, Fuck Free Palestine" message on the stage at Coachella, drawing criticism from Jewish music festival executives and groups. The group denied allegation of anti-Semitism, retorting that what we care about is the governments of the countries we perform in are enabling some of the most horrific crimes of our lifetime, and we will not stay silent. So big up Kneecap, big up Bob Vylan. Great to see them speaking up for people and standing 10 toes strong, and obviously, you know, putting a lot on the line, essentially risking their careers, risking future bookings, putting money on the putting, you know, food in the belly of their kids and shit, providing for their families. Like, God almighty, that's real bravery, real fucking bravery, especially when you consider, again, the outsized influence a lot of Israeli people have on the music industry, and the fact that they control big parts of it, from booking agencies, tour management, record labels, festivals and shit. It's crazy. So when you do say stuff like this, you know you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. And then obviously the most recent update, which is from the other day, says Bob Vylan is no longer to headline Manchester after Glastonbury controversy. Another fucking unfortunate situation to come from this. Punk rap duo Bob Vylan will no longer headline Radar Festival in Manchester. These are the leading chants of death to IDF at Glastonbury. The performance on the West Holt stage on Saturday was live streamed on BBC, leading to corporation to apologise. Avon and Somerset Police announced on Monday that they had opened a criminal investigation after reviewing the footage of the performance at Glastonbury by Bob Vylan's Irish rap trio Kneecap. Brother, surely a criminal investigation should be opened up against the Israeli government, right? Surely you'd think, right? Maybe that's the one that needs to be opened. Maybe that's the investigation that we need to hear and see. Jesus Christ, these people are fucking utterly shameless, isn't it? Utterly shameless. The people that need to be investigated are the fucking foreign governments that are kind of perpetuating this fucking war in the first place, not people performing on stage, mate. The Metropolitan Police are now said to have launched a separate investigation after Bob Vylan allegedly called for death to every single IDF soldier out there. Okay. This is a little bit crazy, isn't it? Death to every single IDF soldier out there at a gig 1 month before. So yeah, he definitely said what he said with his full chest. Officers are investigating comments allegedly made during the concert at Alexander Palace earlier this year. Jesus Christ, they're investigating everything they've ever said, isn't it? The decision to investigate follows the emergence of footage which appears to have been filmed at the venue on the 20th of May 2025. The pair had supported Iggy Pop at the London venue. In a post on Instagram on Wednesday, the Radar Festival, which takes place in O2 Victoria Warehouse in Manchester, wrote, Bob Vylan will not be appearing on the Radar Festival this weekend. The festival has not explained why the duo will no longer appear, which is on its lineup is now headliner TBC. In response, the group shared a festival statement on their Instagram story, adding the caption, "Silence is not an option. We will be fine. The people of Palestine are hurting. Manchester will be back." Fuck, man. Fuck. So fucking unfortunate that they're losing everything in real time because they're speaking up for people who have been oppressed, who have been slain, killed, maimed, literally victims of a genocide. Fucking crazy. They should be fucking lauded and heralded, really. It comes after the band were banned from the US. US Secretary of State Christopher Landau said the duo's visas were revoked for hateful tirade at Glastonbury. The band have also been pulled from upcoming performances at German music venue. Wow. In a statement on Tuesday, the duo said that they were being targeted for speaking up. They wrote, "We are not the death of Jews and Arabs and any other race of people. We are for the dismantling of a violent military machine." That's the key thing. We are not for the death of Jews, Arabs, or any other race or group of people. We are for the dismantling of the violent military machine, a machine whose own shoulders were told to use unnecessary lethal force against innocent civilians waiting for aid, a machine that has destroyed much of Gaza. The statement added, we, like those in the spotlight before us, are not the story. We are a distraction from the story, and whatever the sanctions are, will be a distraction. That's so true. Again, big up to Bob Vylan, big up to Bob, however you say it, Bob Vylan, Bob Vylan. Keep your head up, guys. Obviously, a lot of fucking credence, a lot of fucking support goes to them, and hopefully they keep themselves on their feet, and this is not the end of their story. Hopefully they keep themselves on their feet, and this is not the end of their blood clot story. Fingers crossed, fingers and toes crossed.